Alright, Champ, we've heard this one before. The water and salt myth.
What a myth it is.
Yeah. What do you think about this one?
I mean, I'm honored to get the opportunity to bust it. You know, I'm excited and I'm ready to do the experiment.
I am too. I had dreams about it last night. Just water and salt.
I mean, it's great. So basically, if you don't know what the myth is, we're testing if adding salt to water will make it boil faster.
Basically, we want to see if the solute salt will make the solvent water boil faster and at a higher or lower temperature. And apparently what people are saying is that salt makes boiling water much quicker and much easier, you know, when you're making food and pasta.
How great is that to know?
I know. Everyone needs to know that. I think we're going to make history here.
This is going to be good. So let's see what happens. Oh, hey. I didn't see you there. I was doing some chemistry, one of my favorite activities. So we're talking about the salt myth with boiling water. Okay, and we want to know how are we going to test this legendary myth? And we've got a pretty good experiment in mind. So I'm just going to run you through the details of the experiment and what we're going to do. First off, we're going to get 4 separate beakers. In these beakers, we're going to measure out 200 milliliters of water into each one. Now, one we're going to have is just no salt. It's going to be our base, just water. And then in each of the other 3 beakers, we're going to add 1 gram of salt, 5 grams of salt, and 10 grams of salt. Now, once we have these solutions in the beakers ready to go, we'll have 4 hot plates. Now, with these hot plates, we're also going to have temperatures in the beakers. Now, I know you're getting excited. This sounds like it's going to be good. It's going to be big. And it was, let me tell you. So the next step we have is we have a sheet, and we're going to record the temperatures and write the data down. As simple as that. So when we say go, we put them on the hot plate. The hot plate's set up really nicely. They're all at the same temperatures. Boom. And every minute we're going to record the temperature on the data sheet, and that's how it's going to go down. Boom.
Hey there. We just came back from doing the experiment, and boy, what we found is going to shock you. After the experiment of boiling each water in each beaker with the different amounts of salts at the same temperature and same conditions, we have found that actually each water does not boil too much differently from each other. Now, does this mean it's busted? Well, maybe not. We're going to have to find out later. But what we found is that no single beaker had a significant change in the way it boiled water depending on the amount of salt in it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, there they are again.
Hey! Okay, so what we want to do right now is share with you the conclusions we have figured out through this experiment.
And based on these, we can decide whether or not this myth is busted or not.
Are you ready to hear the final answer?
I'm so excited.
Okay, well, let's tell you what we found with our experiment. We explained it to you a little bit in the last bit.
First of all, each water did not have a very significant change in temperature from each other as they were boiling. Now, after doing some calculations, we found that the amount of salt actually played a big part in this. Want to tell them more about that, Champ?
Yeah, see, we added a very small amount of salt to each 200 milliliter beaker of water. So this really didn't impact anything, which is why we had no significant changes, which would make sense.
Yeah, exactly. What we probably would have done differently in order to test this myth is that we would have had to add probably anywhere from 30 grams to 50 grams of salt. But here's the problem with that. The myth is that will adding salt to boiling water for cooking your food and pasta, will that make a big difference? And apparently not, because you don't use that much salt when you're making pasta.
That's true. That's very true.
And what we also found is that the salt really doesn't do much when you're adding it for flavor. It really won't do much unless you add a lot. And you're going to see people only adding pinches of salt, and, you know, What would your conclusion be on this, Champ?
I would call this myth pretty busted. I mean,
It's pretty busted.
adding a small amount of salt is not going to show
Yeah.
any significant changes in the speed or the temperature at which the water boils.
Oh yeah, it's definitely plausible, but unfortunately we have to bust this one.
Looks like the job's done. Till next time.